If you looked at the thumbnail for this video and thought, what the heck's a podonium? You weren't alone. When I first saw it, I thought it was a bedside cabinet, so I was bemused to find a galvanised bucket inside. Despite my confusion, the temptation proved too great, so I handed over the princely sum of £5 and loaded it into the car. Its real purpose became evident when I took it out of the car at home and found half of the South Wales coalfield in my boot. According to the internet, a podonium is a container for coal in the form of a box with a removable metal lining. The first thing I needed to do was hoover out copious amounts of coal, kindling, spiders' webs, and other assorted rubbish of rather dubious origin. I wore a mask when cleaning out the boxes, and it became apparent how important this was when I brushed out the wooden box. Clouds of dust appeared, making me appreciate the dangers that miners, such as my grandfather, were facing underground before health and safety became an issue. After the hoovering, I scrubbed everything down as best as I could, with some washing up liquid in a bowl of warm water. I then dried it all off using some paper towel. When I was scrubbing the wooden drawer, I noticed that one of the joints was loose, so I made it a bit looser by giving it a good whack. Once the wood was dry, I set about cleaning up the joint with a scraper and then re-glued it using hide glue. When that was done, I clamped the repaired joint and set it aside to dry. I wanted to remove the old varnish and give the piece a much lighter appearance. So on went the gloves, and out came the paint stripper. Before stripping the drawer, I removed the handle and cleaned it back to its original brass shine. I took my time and worked the stripper into all the details on the drawer front, and as you can see, the varnish began to lift quite nicely. For those of you panicking at the sight of me using a wire brush, fear not. The brush had nylon bristles, so they did no harm and they cleaned up the details nicely. Those of you that saw my last video about the Georgian tea table will be familiar with the hazards of staining wood. So with this in mind, I took a cautious approach, thinning the spirit stain with methylated spirits before applying several thin coats to build up the colour I was looking for. Once the stain was dry, I used a lint-free cloth to apply 2 thin coats of Gilboy's wax oil finish. Once the wax oil is applied, the real beauty of the quarter-sawn oak starts to show through, transforming the dull stain to a beautiful golden hue. I wanted to make a feature of the linen fold detail on the piece, so I masked off the rest of the drawer front, ready to spray on some Mohawk toner to darken the detail. It's easy to use masking tape against straight edges, but it can be quite difficult to mask off small internal curves. With this in mind, I used some watercolour masking fluid to paint in the mask on the curved areas. Before everyone starts writing in the comments section, I was aware that the masking fluid was designed for watercolours, so I did some tests before going ahead. As you can see, most of the masking fluid came off with the blue tape, leaving very little to remove afterwards. As in most of my projects, I finished it off with a coat of Gilboy's wax. The finish is always silky smooth, and I just wish that you could take in the beautiful smell through YouTube.